Greetings from Paul Levy from Fringe Review in the morning sunshine here in the home city of Brighton, but thoughts are turned towards Edinburgh Fringe once again. And this is a follow-up video to one I made earlier about the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes of your show, and also a second one that we made which you can find on our YouTube channel, which was about the curtain call and its importance. And I was arguing largely, not absolutely, but largely for allowing the audience just to leave after a show if your intention is you want the last thing that they take with them to be the impact of your show. And the danger of lights just going down and coming up for a curtain call, curtains closing and opening, is that if you start making speeches, thanking everybody, advertising other shows and so on, what people take away is the memory of that and not the memory of your show. And it can actually backfire and people can go away a little bit irritated having that imposed on them. But I've had some feedback via the internet, of course, which I wanted to share too, because there were some really interesting points of view and some ideas. And I still believe that the moments after your show are really critical to the artistic impression that you want to make, and that you need to think very carefully about what happens once the lights go down. And the audience are still there for a moment and they're either going to get up to leave or you've decided to do something, everything from your encores and so on to thank yous and speeches. Now, encores, of course, I've seen some shows in Edinburgh where the actor goes off, there will be a round of applause. It could even be the wish for an encore, but the actor doesn't come back on. And that also sometimes doesn't work. It can feel a bit arrogant. But in other occasions, it's you paying respect to your own work and wanting the last moments of an audience in your venue to be the memories of the last moments of your actual performance. But these are just some other views that I heard. One is it's an opportunity that you shouldn't miss. The reason you're going to the Edinburgh Fringe is to try and get further work, to try and get booked, to try and get good reviews. And if that is they are the reasons, then you probably do need to have lights up and you're still there, and you're inviting people to leave a review, to say there's a QR code on the way out and so on. And it simply is one of your only opportunities to get a little bit of further impetus for your show going forward. But other people said, in a way, it's mean not to. And it can be absolutely beautiful to stay on stage or come back on stage to thank people, to invite them to future shows, to ask them to leave a review, just to simply thank them for coming. It can be enough. You might also just simply want to come down yourself from what could be quite a major emotional bit of intensity in the particular piece that you're doing. And you want to share that moment with your audience. You want to come down to dissipate the energy in company with the audience and share it with them. And it's a kind of acknowledgement of their role in your show. But I think that's very different to a little ego trip of just thanking everybody and to bask in the applause. And that can be done kind of cheekily and well and honestly, but that again can look like you're just kind of lapping it up, and that can backfire. Other people say one of the best things that you can do is to mention other shows. They might be in your venue, they might be similar ones, and it's an opportunity for it not just to be about you, but to say, if you enjoyed this show, can I recommend a new piece of work happening in the same venue, or something that explores the same issues, might have a colleague or a friend of yours in. And when you do that for each other, that can work, because people see that it's not just about you and that you're reaching out to the community that you're part of. And that can work extremely well and be very effective too, because if they liked your show, they're going to like your other show perhaps, or they're going to like the shows of your friends and colleagues. It was Sarah Louise Young, performer regularly at the Fringe, who pointed out the story of, I think a West End version of Blood Brothers, Willie Russell's play, where they choreographed it quite tightly, and that just opens up the possibility that whatever you are going to do, either you might just do it spontaneously or you might choreograph it. In this case, there were usually 2 ovations, and the cast would come on and stay in their very serious characters, and so they would take the applause, but you were seeing that was clearly a sort of continuation of what had been created on stage before. They'd do their bow, and then the second time they were allowed to relax and become themselves, and that's when faces lit up with grateful smiles or happiness. And so stage 1 was we stay in character, stage 2 is we clearly release the character, and that's permission for everybody to say the show is definitely over. And so it's a way of making a virtue of the thank yous, acknowledging the audience seems to be the key thing here. That by staying on, and some shows, if they've had a good audience, will clap their audience, which can also be excellent too. I think the key thing here is that you know your intention, that intention is very conscious to you, and it has the motive behind it that is going to achieve the goal that you want, which again might be the acknowledgement of the audience, that they get to know about other shows, that this isn't accidental. And the thing that you do avoid is that the last memory people take away is a little bit of annoyance with your own ego, kind of pride and arrogance. I don't think that usually works for anybody. So that's the feedback. You might want to watch the other videos, but this is all about paying attention to the fact that you have a show, that there are moments before the show starts, and then there are the couple of first moments into the piece, and then the piece ends, and then there are decisions to be made about what happens afterwards that probably shouldn't be accidental.